Knowledge is being aware of your situation. Wisdom is knowing when and how to act. My friends, each and every day we are looking to gain knowledge and wisdom. How is that? By following these markets, by tracking price movement, by becoming intimate with the 5 ETFs that we track. You should be doing the same with your favorite stocks and ETFs as we follow them. And you have to do this every day in order to learn the nuances about the particular ETFs and stocks that you are interested in, not just going off the cuff and buying and selling things you don't know anything about. It's becoming intimate with that little quiver of stocks and ETFs that you find fascinating, whether they happen to be commodity ETFs or if they're indexes or if they're Bitcoin or gold or if it happens to be Tesla or Apple or whatever it might be. Let's jump into our ETFs for the day. Stocks are mixed. Bonds are down. Gold and Bitcoin are up. Let's look at where we are with the S&P. It is up a little bit for the day. So it was up in the morning, peeled off some of that in the afternoon. Green spinning top in the morning and in the afternoon. A doji means lots of indecision. It opened lower than the prior close. That's why we have a red volume that's all the way up there to average. So it's the highest we've seen in 2 days. So again, as we look at where we are on the weekly, we're okay pushing into Tuesday. We look at the 2-day candle. We can see, of course, that we're right almost up to average as things are moving down. So we can see the weight of the market pressure pushing things down. Lots of indecision at the end of the day after a bit of a bump up in the morning. And again, peeled back to just 0.14% up. So with the S&P, we still have that downward pressure pushing it down. Price is well below the weekly trend line on the 2-day and the half-day. And again, we are just in a downtrend here. What about Qs? That is the NASDAQ 100. Well, we can see a nice red down candle, 2 there. That's on the weekly, 2 there on the 2-day. Look at all that volume as things have been moving down. Things popped up in the afternoon, then back over up in the morning and then back over in the afternoon with the red spinning top right there at average volume. So again, we see as the NASDAQ 100 is rolling over, and again, that downward pressure pushing it down along with the S&P. So our stock indexes are pushing down. What about bonds? Well, bonds just continue to move on down. Sort of need to update our weekly trend line here. We can see price movement on the half-day and the 2-day decently below, so we do have that downward pressure continuing. Had a little less volume, didn't quite get to average on this last one, but a red down candle with a red wick on the bottom. And you can see how on the half-day it just keeps on sliding down. Again, going into our 6th week of down movement, just continuing to press on and on and on. As we look at gold up for the day, 0.52%. We saw where gold gave us a few days up last Tuesday morning, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We were closed on, Tuesday. Yes, Wednesday and Friday. We were closed on Thursday for, Jimmy Carter's funeral. Then things jammed up on Friday, rolled over strong. We see this downward movement on Monday, and then starting to try to gain a little more traction. We got decent volume here, but not a decent candle on the 2-day. We're okay on volume so far on the weekly. And we see the high last week was 249.04. This week, 247.04. So we're not hitting that high of last week yet. We want to start trying to draw some kind of upward trend line. I mean, we can try here. I guess that's an okay trend line. Not hitting a higher high yet, so we're doing that with some trepidation. But we do see that the 2-day and the half-day are decently, above the trend line. So we'll keep our eye on things. And we particularly with all that volume last week, We'll see how the volume finishes this week and if gold continues to just trundle up as we move into the new year. Bitcoin up for the day after several days of down movement, swung up nicely in the morning, about the same level in the afternoon. Not a lot of volume there. We look at the 2-day, and again, we don't have much volume. Got to go all the way back to the Monday, Tuesday of last week to get above average volume. Average volume last week. This week, it's a little weak. We'll see as the week moves on. But again, we have that downward pressure just sort of waiting on Bitcoin. You know, we had all this indecision last week where the bulls couldn't beat out the bears, nor the bears the bulls. That's why we had that big spinning top with all that volume. And it looks like it's won over to the downside with the bears so far, even though we had an up day on Tuesday. We'll continue to keep an eye on Bitcoin. That is where we are, folks. So appreciate you being with us. Always love to hear from you. CW@chartingwealth.com. Tell me what you think about. I find this very helpful, this visual of putting the watermark behind each of our 3 time frames. So you can see 195-minute 2-day and a week. And you also see your symbols so that you don't get them confused. If you do screw your chart up and you get the wrong time frame in there, much easier to catch before you go making dumb decisions. I like to do everything I can to help myself from being stupid. That's where we are, folks. God bless. All the best from Charting Wealth.